Okay, it's Wednesday, August 21st, 6 p.m. It's the Town of Sangerville Select Board meeting, our bi-monthly meeting. I'd like to open the meeting. Select persons present, Jeff, Mike, and Josh, all present. Employees, Michelle and Matt, and some public present. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item 2 is open session. We normally limit open session to 2 minutes per speaker. If you've got something for a topic that's gonna run into a long session, we recommend scheduling it with Michelle ahead of time so that we have a chance to all look at it. Is there anything anybody would like to bring to open session?
Is it on you, Bryce?
We didn't list them separately, did we?
We didn't. I don't.
Did you have something, Bryce, you wanted to bring?
Yeah.
You do, okay.
Yeah, we were talking about putting a weight limit on the East Sangerville Road.
That's correct.
We had discussed, I don't know how many years ago it was, but back when Haley had the pit on East Sangerville Road, we had made an agreement with the Haley construction that there would be a weight limit and a time limit when they would start hauling. That was, I don't know now, I don't recall if that was actually put down in writing or whether it was just an agreement between them in the town, but they agreed to not haul the 18-wheel dump trucks over the East Sangerville Road. And it was, I don't remember the timing, but they were,
So they couldn't start before 7.
yeah, I think it was like 7:30 or something like that, because prior to that, they were hauling it like 4:45, you know? And it was pretty loud, and back then, you know, the road was rough too, you know, so it made a lot of noise. And so I guess now L&M is hauling out of Raymond's Pit, which used to be the Haley Pit, and down that way. And I believe I counted, I think there was 3 or 4 different trucks, 3 or 4, with the dump trucks, and of course, the Corinna Pit trucks. Now, all granted aside, I will say the Corinna Pit trucks are much more respectful. They go slower and it's better. But the other trucks, I mean, they're all young guys driving, they're, you know, making a living. But you know, they're a little bit of, not using all the brakes, if you know what I mean.
Right.
J-braking a little bit. But the road was never designed for that type of weight. We're talking 100,000 pounds plus easy.
You're talking about tractor trailer
Right.
loads of dump truck.
Right,
Dump truck
right.
loads of
4
gravel.
of them, 4 different ones. So it's a pretty chronic back and forth. It's not just like 1 or 2 a day. It's
And the road isn't that old, but already there's cracking in the middle of the road, and they've destroyed parts of the edges, which will, in time, just lead into the center of the road. And, you know,
when we had that paper, sir.
the road is very expensive, and as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay for another new road. And to me, it was a new road, it's not that old. But that's just not, that road wasn't built for that kind of tonnage. It should be posted.
So you recall an agreement with Haley's?
Yes.
Because part of the problem is Haley's is no longer Haley's.
Right.
Everything has changed hands.
Right.
So if there were something like that, we'd have to revisit it for sure.
Correct. Now, I'm not 100% sure that it wasn't something in writing at the time, but like you said, it's already expired because obviously it's changed ownership. However, I don't know, we came to an agreement and they were much more, you know, they were very accommodating, at least was. And, you know, we got that. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if anything was written down, if it's a gentleman agreement type thing, I don't know what it was. But I know it was in effect, and they stopped using 18-wheel loads. So, our road, like I said, like Diane said, it wasn't designed for that. We never did have dirt put on the edge of that road when it was paved. There was no dirt put on the edge of it. We saved that for money. So now you have two 18-wheel trucks meeting each other back and forth on the edge of the road. That's not gonna last long when there's a lip 5, 6, 7 inches tall in some spots. It's gonna get snowballed to heck. The culverts are starting to crack through now, like the pavement, you can see where the culverts are now. And that, that's gonna happen anyhow, but it's not, shouldn't be happening in a year and a half, particularly. And like I said before, it's not just one truck, it's 4 trucks easy, I believe. Plus, like I said, plus the dump trucks, plus the Corinna dump trucks. So it's a lot of trucks. They aren't starting like 4:45 or anything. It's 6:30-ish, 6:45, so it's not that early. That's not such a concern particularly. But the actual tonnage on that road, I mean, the road's gonna be destroyed. You're gonna get it destroyed for somebody else's profit. And the town's gonna lose money on it because you're gonna have to go up there, you're gonna have to fix what's gonna be cracked so it doesn't get cracked worse. The road, when it was made, we basically just dug up the old road, packed it down and went over it. We didn't really level the road, in certain spots, so some of the road is gonna slide, you see what I'm saying? It's gonna get pulled and slid where it's more angled in some spots than others. It's gonna get pulled. And you can already see where it's starting to separate and it's starting to pull. Especially if you go up past the Lemues, around the bend by the Knott Hill Road and down the straight, we used to fight that horrible rock that's under there, that hole is. You can see where that road is getting pulled, where they're going around the corner. The road's getting a lot of wear and tear. And I know I'm not doing it on my car, with my vehicle. So
what do you
that's
think's a
the question.
reasonable time for them to start? 7 AM, 6 AM?
Yeah, I mean, you can understand they want to start earlier, and
Right.
that's in their day, particularly when it's hot. So 7 without J-braking, starting at my house and going all the way to the apartment.
They're coming out of the bed, up to the top of the hill, where Burgess's old home used to be, and the Burgess's where the Newgate farm is there. They're kind of J-braking all the way down that road. Not heavily, but enough so it's, you can hear it. And that's just the L&M 18-wheel trucks. I don't see any of the Corinna dump trucks doing it. I don't even see the other smaller, regular sized dump trucks doing it either. But a couple of the L&M boys are doing it. And that's, not appropriate at 6:30 in the morning either.
Well, I've got to tell you, from my position, Josh, probably different view. I'm completely ignorant of what the weight limits are on the road without doing some homework.
100,000.
Can I make a suggestion about that? I was an environmental regulator, and I reviewed and permitted roadways, secondary roadways and highways. And I was there when they were laying down crushing the old road and putting down the new road. And I knew that was not gonna handle a lot of weight in the future. The Maine Municipal Association could probably help you out with the limit on a secondary road that would limit to a regular dump truck rather than an 18-wheeler.
So, we've always had 18-wheelers on that road, just on the other end of the road. From Brown Pit to Derry Hill. You know what I mean? Because Haley's always hauled out of there. Even in the last years, they were hauling out of there with an 18-wheeler. I think that was more of the agreement with Haley's, and that was kind of a handshake agreement, was Haley's would stay on that end, because like we have Cleves out there already, they got 5 trucks of their own, so they're coming in and out at least once a day with every truck, sometimes a few times, so they stuck it to that end of the road. I do agree with you that it would be nice to see them not on. We all live on the same end of that road, so it would be nice to see them not out there. They're beating up the intersection pretty hard of Line Road and Starboard siding right now. Because they're coming out onto the dirt, so they're coming off the tire, onto the dirt, back onto the tire, and they can't make that swing and have a car come around without going way out onto the dirt and back, because it's too sharp, so that pulling is a lot there.
Mrs. Cartwright was almost hit by one of them.
Yeah.
I do want to also mention that maybe Mr. Cartwright went out there and filled up that big hole.
I was wondering who filled,
Yeah.
yeah.
How much do you think one of those 18-wheel trucks loaded full of gravel weighs?
150.
Supposed to be under 100, right?
Well, I imagine knowing those boys, they're 110, 120.
And what's the weight limit?
100,
There you go.
yeah.
So what do we call? Sheriff, let him sit down the end of the road and see if he get weighed?
State.
You want to help state?
Stay on
I
that
can
one.
put state out there if you want to.
Commercial
I know a couple-
enforcement.
I know a couple of states.
We don't do, no, I can
Right.
change
If
it.
it's posted, I'm sure that they would abide by it, if it was posted,
Right.
posted.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, I think they're better this summer than they were last summer. They were very fast last summer and
Well, the speed was.
extremely loud. This year, they seem to be trying, but I can admit, I can hear them from my house. I mean, I'm the first one on the right on the dirt, on the line road, and I hear them going by, I can hear them right from the pit. You know?
But it's more, I think, at least my concern is more what that activity is doing to the infrastructure that I'm paying for through my taxes.
Right,
Yeah, they're making money.
That's legitimate.
They're making money.
yeah,
It's not like Raymond doesn't have $200 million in his pocket. I mean, at the expense of our road.
right.
You know what I mean?
And Dowdy Hill's a state road.
Right. Now, whatever happened with the idea of them going through the pit? I know there was one guy that owned a pit down there that didn't want to have the trucks go out to the main route on Route 7. Whatever happened with that?
That pit's now for sale, the one that.
Because they used to be able to go out, they used to
Yeah,
come out that way.
Panquist owns.
Yeah, what happened with that? They can't go out through there anymore?
I
Onto the
I
state
think the
road?
only way to get through there now would be to go up Snowmobile Trail, and I don't.
They used to haul out of
Which used to be a road,
Yeah, they-
and it's not in good enough shape
They
anymore.
dug it right down into the water, that Penquist pit, right?
Right, yeah.
It's too bad they didn't have trucks full of dirt to fill it in.
That ends pretty dull.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we wanna leave this, guys? Do we wanna just contact commercial enforcement and have them run the detail out there and just see what becomes of it? Is that,
Have you talked to them at all?
I would like to go talk to Robbie, I think, and see what their thought. I know some of it in the past too was the Pike. Pike was hauling, they had a job in Greenville or Rockwood or something, and when the Pike plant was open, they were going right through there, and that's when the whole thing kinda came to a head, you know? But I think Robbie could probably shed some light on,
are you willing to
yeah,
do
I'll
that?
talk to Robbie, and then it might not hurt just to call Johnny and say, hey, there was an agreement in the past, and we'd like to see you stick to it, you know? Cause those, I mean, they're L&M trucks, but they're hired from.
They're hired by Johnny.
Right.
I can look in, I found a filing cabinet this past week. I might be able to look and see if the line road is listed.
You mean as far as,
Any agreements?
I don't think you'll see the line road because that's a shared road, but you may see the end of the East Sangler Road.
East Sangerville? Okay.
I know that Butch swears up and down, there's a paper somewhere that a supervisor from Pike agreed with the board to not have trucks go through there.
Okay,
I don't know if there was anything from Haley's actually written down.
okay.
No, Butch said, yeah, that's what Butch said to me too. You called when I was there, Butch talked to that. And he did tell me the same thing, I think he had an agreement with Pike or something, he said it was written down, but I don't remember it. He
Yeah.
said, yeah, I was there, we passed it, but I don't remember it. I personally don't recall it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we passed it, there'd have been signs out there, you know, as for like waiting times, but I think there might have been an agreement, you know.
Well, I do also want to say that the weight limit sign, the spring posted signs came down 2 weeks early this year, you know that too, right? They were posted to the 15th, was it the 15th
Oh,
or
yeah.
16th? They came down 2 weeks early.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, yeah, I know it's up to, I don't know how that really works either, but I know it wasn't great because it was still pretty wet, kind of cold and then warm days we had there.
Basically, as long as the frost is gone, that's, because I mean, like a year like this, the ground's wet anyway,
Yeah.
you know.
So in a movement towards resolution, Josh is gonna have a conversation with Rob Haley and Johnny Raymond.
Yeah, I'll see what Rob says, and then I'll
Mhm.
probably get with you two and just, maybe we can go from there. Or I can just talk to Johnny and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you find that a good place to start?
I do, and swing by, let me know what this, let us know what the
Yeah.
result is, I mean, because then what do we do if he says, no, heck with the civilians on the Sangle Road, but they don't care.
Yeah.
How do we contact you, Bryce?
564-7787.
I see them out almost every day.
Yeah. We're gonna put this in your lap, Josh.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bryce. We appreciate it. Thank you both.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Road not gonna get paid for another 30 years, so, you know.
Take care of the one you got.
Good thing what we got. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, do we have any other topics for open session? Having none, we'll move on. Item 3, we'll sign the minutes. of the
We
board
don't
meeting.
have any minutes this time, Sam didn't leave me anything for you, so that's,
Okay, we'll table that and move on. Item 4, review of the treasurer's warrants. Couple hours reading there, yeah. So on this warrant, the roadside mowing for Mr. Lambert, I
yes.
see that's listed later in the agenda. Is this is his bill till present, or is he all done? This is
That's
it?
the last bill. He did the brush side mowing, that was 6,600. That's the roadside cutting with the sickle bar.
So, probably nobody explained to him, but he did one side of the line road all the way to the Shaw Road. We stopped.
So, Sangerville
halfway down
and
the line
Dover's?
road, but then he did nothing on the other side of the line road. So I
Okay.
don't know what we should do about that. He also did not do Easel Road, which is only a 1/10 of a mile, but that didn't get done.
So my question is, has anybody shown him what he's supposed to be doing?
Well, I don't know that, and what I was gonna ask from you was, did we have when we sent out
I
the
think so.
bid package, what did it state, do we know?
I do not know, that was done by Patrick, before I got here.
Okay, is there a way to find it?
I probably can. I
I
will
don't-
see what
I
I can
don't-
find.
So that's my question, is this item is for the roadside mowing, which is in theory not complete.
In my mind, yes, but I wasn't gonna get it. I was gonna call him about the line road, and then I said, you know what, if nobody explained it to him, it's not his fault,
Right.
you know,
I kind of feel the same way, but
Right.
it still needs to be done.
and he probably thought the Easel Road was the driveway, but, you know,
That was my question, has anybody shown him what's expected of him?
and I didn't check any road off from 23. I did go down Silver's Mills today, that looks good, and the side roads off from it, but I don't know if he did Bean Hill or Jackson. I didn't
haven't
have
been
time
down
to
there
get over
either.
there and check on it, so.
Okay, I can double check that tomorrow when I go in the office.
Where do we go with this as far as signing the warrant?
If you want to hold it, just simply write right beside his name to hold check. Right on the warrant.
Okay,
And then that check won't go out.
until we've had the
you guys-
conversation.
Yep, I will hold it.
All right, I'm gonna make a notation to do that, I think. I'm not trying to hold him up, I think we just need to have a conversation
Sure,
before we issue the
absolutely.
check, that's all.
Oh, the other thing was, is I walked the dump, I don't know if you two have.
Have not.
What he was talking about on the bank down low, what he's missing is very little. It's not worth going. I do think he could have done a better job with the entrance. There was some pine limbs there from when it was cut a couple of years ago, but they were laid flat. He did have a bush hog on. He could have gone over them. The only one issue that he couldn't have done is there is a juniper tree that's fallen that he was just able to squeak around one end of it, you know. But
So you feel he did an acceptable job?
I think he did as far as being in on the actual dump itself, yes.
It's something to be clear still.
Yeah, that juniper tree or hack or whatever you wanna call it should be cut up and moved. The other thing is, do we have to have that locked? Should that be locked?
I would think so.
Oh, really?
I did actually find the dump closing book.
You did?
Yep, so we have the rules now of when that is. But I would assume, anytime I've ever been by before, it's always been, the gate's been closed and locked.
The gate's closed and there's a latch that goes down through it and there's a hole in the bottom of it for a lock. And there's no lock there. I would just hate to see somebody young and foolish think they wanna have a good time out there.
Make a dirt track out of it.
Right.
Okay. Now, before we issue the check, do you think we should have Josh just ride out and show him where our line is and address those last things, or?
Yep, what I will do is I'll look for the bid package and what had been sent out by Patrick, to the people. See if there's any road listings at all.
Has he moved his equipment out and moved back?
I believe
He
so.
has.
Yeah,
Oh, he takes his tractor with him. He doesn't usually leave it. He takes it with him every day.
Oh, he does, okay.
Yeah.
and when he was in to give me the bill, he talked about doing the dump, so I was under the impression the dump hadn't been done. And I didn't see anything on any bill where it had been recorded. But you're saying that it had been done.
Well, remember he came in that day?
Yeah.
We were talking to him. He was talking about how he had done the dump. He just had it's steep off one side and right down near the bottom it got soft. And then he was talking about them pipes that were tipped over.
Right.
And I only found one pipe, so.
Tipped over, knocked over.
Okay, so
No,
all
it's
warrants
been
are
there for a long
signed?
time.
All along.
There was no grass underneath it. It was all dirt.
We'll move on to item 6, old business. Being none, we'll move on to item 7, new business. Item A is Eagle Technology came to speak to us about IT services.
And that's Caleb.
Here I am. So, I assume you have computers in St. Paul?
We do.
Alright, so,
A couple of them are
check.
a little old.
Yeah.
We got some new ones given to us.
Yep. Yeah, so I did a proposal on basically full support on, it's basically a cybersecurity package and support. That's the only thing we do because the old break fix days are over where you set it up, it works. And then you call us in 6 months when it breaks, then we come up and fix it. That doesn't work anymore. I don't know if you're familiar with the MMA security assessment from insurance, but every year you get this little packet, maybe 10 pages or so. And there's a page and a half or so of IT stuff. There's a whole bunch of checkboxes. You really have to check yes to everything on. If you check yes to something that's not true, then you get your insurance denied. So a lot of those things are like, you have to have password policy. You know, so you obviously have to have password. You probably shouldn't be saying until 2024. Hackers will guess that. And multi-factor. So those are, extra steps of security, like when you log in, you have to write the password, which changes every 90 days. It has to be complex and all that. A little ding on your phone says, yeah, that was really me, ding, then you go in. I could sit here all night and tell you horror stories about, we've had clients that have lost $600,000 in the last 2 months because someone tricked them with an email. It's usually human error that does that, it's not necessarily the technology. But all those things in that assessment, I should have brought back, and that would have been more of an illustration of what the back end stuff is.
I believe that I had gone in and printed that for all of you, I believe. I came off that, it's not in today's packet, no, I think I gave it to you before. After we spoke to Melissa, I think it was there.
Yeah, so every year, that little list gets a little bit longer. You know, even commercial policies for cybersecurity, I've seen them change and morph every year. It's almost like, you know, health insurance, it's always more money next year for less benefits. It's kind of the same thing. But basically, if you go through this whole thing, it's quite involved. All these little things, I don't know if you were able to look through them and have questions about them.
I sent them to all of you by email, but I wasn't sure. I did bring the packet that I have with me.
So one of the, you know,
If
if you've
you
been,
wanna-
if you've
if
been
anyone
used
wants to look
to, you know, call the guy when you need, you know, when something's running slow, going onto a package like this, it's a shock, you know, so sometimes select boards will say, hey, I saw the price, so yeah. So it can be that quick, and that's, I wouldn't hurt my feelings. But basically, because towns like to budget, you know, it also includes unlimited support, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or 8 to 5. So a lot of those things that the little towns would say, well, you know, I can deal with that for now, that printer doesn't work, but I can swap it out for another one. You call us on those things and we take care of those things. So that's an all-inclusive, package where one price kind of does it all. If it turns into something that we can't have her help us remotely with, we send somebody, obviously you're on kind of our outer fringe, you know, being.
Where are you from?
I'm from Akron, Ohio, but I grew up in Carmel, Maine, and then I moved to New Hampshire and Maine and New Hampshire again. So I actually live in New Hampshire. Our office is in Bedford, New Hampshire, and Scarborough, Maine. I have a full-time engineer in the Bangor area.
You do.
We have 4 clients in Bangor. We're starting to build that corridor back up. This is kind of my home territory. Many years ago, I worked at Triangle Service with Eddie Grant.
Yeah.
Might have pumped your gas in '89 or '90.
Yeah.
Back when the recession hit. So going through here is pretty familiar for me. And I have a camp in Jackson where I'll be staying tonight.
So your support would be based out of you. If we needed help, a real person to show up, you have somebody in Bangor, Maine.
Yeah. So the way that works is you call the number, you get our dispatcher, and he'll decide who the most available person is. 90% of this is all remote into the computer, or we say, hey, what light is blinking on this particular computer or this firewall, unplug it, plug it back in. We had to run through some steps, and then if it's like, you know, nothing else can be done, we'll send somebody for that. Obviously, we're going to limit those trips because, you know, that's mileage, that's time on the road, you know, 3 hours on the road for my guy back and forth. So, you know, that's where, you know, $500 a month is not as attractive for us, but that's how that works. But basically, this hits on all those security things on that assessment. And then we get to fill out the assessment every year for you for the technology part. And that's kind of a relief because, you know, the right people fill that out. As far as, you know, IT security, I mean, if you want to hear about it, I can tell you, but it's a real thing. I mean, being a public entity, if you award a mowing contract for $5,000, that's a public information document. It might be on your website. Most towns it is. You have to think like a criminal, and I know you know how to do that. So if you're a criminal on the other side of the world, and you see that Sanger was awarded a contract to build a bridge for $500,000, because that could happen, and you know who got the bid and when it's going to start work and all that, don't be surprised if you see an invoice come from some company that looks like that company that isn't, and they have your ACH information and they do that. That stuff happens, and it happens on a regular basis. And we had a client yesterday that lost her pink ticket that's in Foxborough tonight because she had a weak password on her email. And they got in there and they transferred the tickets to somebody else, and now she's back going to Foxborough tonight. This stuff is really, it happens a lot. And I'm not saying that this guarantees it doesn't happen, but your staff will also get user awareness training. So twice a month you get this 5-minute video you have to watch and take a little quiz and make sure you do that. When you do MMA, if you insure through MMA?
We do have,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they may reduce your insurance a little bit. If you actually do that, you can have proof of it, because you can. That changes all the time too. So I don't all over the place on that, but you know, basically I want to give you kind of a baseboard to start from. And you know, hey, this is, you know, you can send this out to bid, you know, I'm happy to, you know, compete too, but this is what I can offer you right here.
Well, and coming up, you'd be able to come up and get our new computers
Yeah,
up,
so-
running, set up. What would the cost? I don't remember the cost.
Yeah, let's get down to that. So basically, when we do a proposal like this, you know, there's a startup fee. And the startup, the onboarding fee is, my tech comes up here, he does a full assessment of the network. Now, this doesn't include anything but town hall. So if there's a highway department and you added it, it would be additional. It's like $82.50 a month per computer, which includes all the antivirus and protections and support and all that stuff. So, and if it has another firewall there, that's another thing too. We will make recommendations, so if we see like a Linksys firewall, that was on a list of things that say, wait, maybe in the next budget, you wanna figure a stronger firewall for that, because that's not good enough for security right now. So we'll give you recommendations on that. Normally what we do is we charge the onboarding is usually 1 month of service, so it would be $500, and instead, what I did was, we doubled that to make it 1,000, but included in that would be setting up those two computers, which would probably take us at least 5 hours.
Okay, that's what I thought we had
And our
talked.
rate's $125 an hour, so that is kind of the loss leader right there. But it's just kind of like, you know, help you get where you need to be. But when I sell the service tags on the serial numbers, they're actually 4 years old, they're refurbs, so they're not really new. So just so you know that.
Who does?
And we like to have computers that are under 5 years old because you have less problems. But, you know, we're willing to do that and just get it going. Sounds like you're kind of in a rut right now, so.
We're at the end of the life of these two computers. We've got
Yeah.
one that's crashed just before town meeting.
I think
so
you're
that's
talking
been
about like a
fixed.
10-year-old computer, and that's worthy of being behind glass. You know, that's antique value, so. Really, this stuff is unfortunately, as much as you pay for it, it's a commodity. It's like a cell phone. How many years do you get out of that, right? How much do you pay for it? So sadly, that's not where we make our money, you know, we make 10% on our stuff, but going forward, once we get you on board like that, you know, we kind of have a plan where you're looking at a 1, 3, and 5 year plan for technology upgrades and things like that. And, you know, most of it's take it or leave it, you know, if you want to, it's great. Other things, if it really is a high security risk, I don't want you as a client if you're gonna do things that are to get all of us in trouble. You know, so if it's egregious, like if you just go to your computer and hit enter to get in and that's it, that can't happen anymore. So we're pretty reasonable in that, but, you know, I gotta be strict on certain things to keep everybody safe. And, you know, I was a brunette up until cybersecurity started getting bad. But it's, you know, like I said, the client that lost 600 grand, we had one a month ago that lost 160 grand. They were tricks, you know. I assume you've seen emails that say, hey, I'm Josh, and I need to get my ACH changed. And it's not really him. Have you seen those yet?
I have not seen them
You
yet.
will, you will. And sadly, when you want to have like a voice, you know, call, you know, to verify somebody, AI will usually hear your voice for 3 seconds to make any sentence in the English language. So when you pick up the phone and you say, hello, is anyone there? Hello? That's all they need right there to make a Joe Biden ad in New Hampshire, which I'm sure you've heard about. And, you know, make your voice sound like that to her if she's doing payroll. And that can happen in Sangerville, Maine, I can tell you right now. It happened to one of my techs in Buxton, Maine, where his cousin called him in the middle of the night saying she needed bail money. And she was crying and everything, and he knew it was her. He called her mother and she said, no, and she didn't call here, and it wasn't her. So that was in the last 6 months, so that's how fast this stuff evolves. But with us as your partner, when you start to see those things, that's how we get the word out. That's the basic spiel. Any other questions on that?
And the monthly fee, refresh my memory,
Yeah, it was $533.49 a month.
and that's for the two computers.
And that, the onboarding is $1,000, and that
Yep.
includes, what we wanna do is, we wanna get James up here, our engineer, to look at the network. We put labels on things, we put an agent on it, antivirus, all that stuff, get the software you need on there, Trio, whatever it is. Get you situated, get you safe and secure and all that. We wanna do all that in one day, you know, so
Okay.
usually that's a 2-step process. This will be the smallest smallest client I have, you know, 80. So it really will take a day to do that. You know, even if it takes him 10 hours to get it done, we wanna do that in one trip. And then
Okay,
the rest of it, if it's little stuff here and there, it's just remote stuff. You just call a dispatcher, and it's not in the Philippines. It's a guy, you know, a guy named Brian. So, you know, I lose all my main clients up there when I'm short for my my help. I'd pay half the cost if I did. So.
Are there any other hidden costs or any?
Geez, that sounds so nefarious.
It is. It's straight up.
No, it's a fair question. So really, before you sign anything, you should read the whole, I do have a copy of this that has all the rest of the agreement. So what you want to kind of look at is like, if you have it, page 9 and 10. And those are easy read right there, okay?
Yeah.
So, that's the easy stuff. And then the rest of it, and, you want to read that too. But the thing you want to pay attention to is, yeah, it's a 3-year agreement. Why? Because that's just what everybody does. I've taken teeth out of our contracts by saying if I have a customer that doesn't like us, I don't want them to be stuck with me. So at any time, in the first 30 days, 6 months, 2 years, whatever, if you say you're out, then you've got 60 days to be out. You just have 2 months to pay for, a few hours of offboarding, to get them onto the other provider. And then that's it, because most of these little things that we put on your network, like antivirus and the Cisco Duo and Cisco Umbrella and things like that, the security products, I'm on the hook for those with that company that I get it from. So that's why it's 60 days and not just, we're done tomorrow. So I keep that in all my contracts, like I said, just to keep people happy, so. And we don't have very many people leave. When they do, it's usually because they got bought out or, they went out of business. I have another copy if you need it. You can have it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
And yeah, cybersecurity is not cheap, I get it. It is what it is.
Well,
But you were from Guilford too, right? So you probably had some degree of.
I worked in Guilford for 30 years, yep.
Yeah.
But they didn't have this type of security. It's in the last few years, things are ramping up, like
Oh,
you
yeah,
said.
so,
When I worked at the credit union, they had security
oh,
for
yeah,
obvious reasons. And that was the first time I had ever seen how much, all the different things you had to go through
right.
to
So
protect yourself.
Towns in Maine, they're a little behind. And there's not a huge entity that's really pushing the security stuff. On the business side, like manufacturers we support and things like that, that's kind of been there because they've seen, they've seen that kind of hacking there, right? I know a Secret Service agent because these things have happened to some of our businesses down there, and those haven't been penetrated. There again, it was a spoof or whatever. I can tell you that one of our construction companies, they didn't get paid by the city of, the biggest one in Maine, but I can't tell you who it is. And a month later they called, hey, why is this late? And he said, we already paid you. Well, some hackers bought our client's domain name with a .us and not a .com, which is perfectly legal, right? And they sent an invoice to the city of biggest one in Maine. They paid a few $100,000 on that because it looked like them, and they actually knew the people that worked at that company because they do all that kind of research. And the hackers don't know you guys because you're on the website, right? It's easy. And they tricked them. And next thing you know, the Secret Service, the detective from the biggest city in Maine, PD, was in there. And, when I look at the email, I determined in 5 minutes they were secure, they were safe. But they still seized the computer and they did forensic examinations on it. And it took a week and they finally cleared them of it. But those are the kind of things I've seen right in the state here. In New Hampshire, it's a whole different thing. There is an entity called Overwatch. Their association for municipalities is they just have a bigger, stronger hold on that. They're giving away free grants for changing over to .gov. Doesn't cost you anything down there. I think that comes from the Department of Homeland Security indirectly. So if you look into that, that's some free money they can give you to .gov, and that's a good idea.
I actually got an email later this afternoon from Lewiston,
Okay.
Kathy and Tao. They have a grant out right now that
Yeah.
we can change over to the .gov system.
Yeah, so we're actually we applied to be the vendor for the state of New Hampshire municipalities, just do that particular thing for municipalities there. I think we will be doing that, but that's where we come in, doesn't cost the town anything. So websites, that's simple stuff. Email depends on the platform, that can run into a lot of hours. sometimes. So that's something you don't wanna pay for if you can get for free. And the reason why that's a big deal is because a hacker can't buy a .gov address to make it look like yours. And they can't go to GoDaddy to buy that stuff. They have to go through DHS to get those things. And it's a pain for a reason. It legitimizes your stuff and all that kind of stuff too, so. That's a really good idea.
Is that something that you would do for us to get us set up and be secure?
Yeah, like I said, so if it was New Hampshire, I could easily say, you're not gonna pay for any of this. Maine, I yet to find that yet, so that email that you got today, I would love to see it. So if I can find a way, I'm gonna get, a couple other towns that we support on there. And like I said, we do it, we don't have to charge for it, which is great, so, because they pay us. As long as it's not a phishing email, right? So, and there's some other free stuff that they were giving away too for that, which is YubiKeys, which is authenticators and things like that, instead of that app on your phone.
Yep.
There were 3 different things like that. But yeah, any other questions for me on that?
I don't have any.
Websites, what do you suggest? We have a website now,
I know. I
but,
heard, I saw the town meeting was canceled last Saturday. Who would, like, anyone wants to go to a town meeting on a Saturday?
yeah, well, we got one this Saturday.
That's fine.
So
I'll be fishing when you're having that meeting.
would you be able to offer us some suggestions as to
Yeah.
what to do or how to fix?
How to fix?
How to
What's
fix
wrong with
it?
it?
I don't know,
So, we don't do websites, but, we definitely handle, like securing a domain name or pointing, an IP address to the new website. That's all
Okay.
included in this stuff here.
okay,
So if you had to change over, that's not a big deal. Do you go to the MMA, table events, the conference?
I haven't been to a convention for a long time.
We have a table there, because I went for the last 2 years, Bangor and Augusta, so it's Augusta again. And there's a guy there from Town Cloud, and I can send you just a referral to him.
Okay,
He's out of like Bethel area, and they do websites very reasonably for towns. If you've ever heard of Civic Plus,
I have not.
they're the ones, they're like the granddaddy of all the ones that do websites for towns. They charge a huge amount of money. Like Old Orchard, they charge $50,000 a year. So, this guy's not like that at all. So I'll send you that just as a referral.
Okay,
If you have a local person that does it, and you like them, great. I can set you up with a GoDaddy hosting solution if you want, or we really like whoever supports the website to have them kind of own the whole thing. But we control the records for the domain, so what IPs it points to, because we use it for more things like email and VPN and things like that.
okay,
But we would handle all that part of it, we just don't design websites. As far as fixing them sometimes, yeah, we can.
I guess what I was asking was like
The
the
design.
security on it,
Yeah,
that type of.
well, then that's where, the developer of the website has to be really up on that kind of stuff. So, if you have WordPress, for instance, then if you're not getting like monthly updates on that, then there's a problem. And they find security vulnerabilities in those things all the time. That's just the nature of the business, that your web developers should be updating that whenever those patches come out.
Okay,
Because that's how, another way they get in, and then they get into your documents and all hell breaks loose, so. But as far as like recommending, vendors for that kind of stuff, absolutely. But back to your question, the hidden stuff, right? So special projects would be not included. If it's, basically, let's say you need a new firewall and it's gonna take 10 hours to install the firewall, then that's a special project. Luckily for you, being a small town, a firewall installs about 3 to 4 hours, so it's included. You just pay for the cost of the firewall.
So those items are done at an hourly rate?
Yep.
What is that hourly rate?
125 plus travel if we have to come up for a special project. Here, like I said, I don't really see it. Where that will come into play here, the only thing reasonable will be if you move into a whole new building, right? So which, there's some talk about that on the agenda.
well, there was talk of building in a new town office, but the consensus now is to perhaps go to the building that's behind or
Yeah,
beside us. That's where we were before, but it needs to have some renovations done to it.
okay, yeah, so in that case, it would be, if you're like, picking everything up, moving everything over, that's a special project. We would, give you an estimate on what that would cost and go from there. installing like a switch that dies or a UPS that dies, that's all included in this stuff. And after hours, if you call me at 9 o'clock at night, then yeah, there's an after hours rate, but if you can keep it to 8 to 5, or say, hey, this can wait till morning, and leave the weekends alone, and we don't charge you the after hours rate. I really don't see a town like this needing that. You don't have a police department, which we do support too. So I really try to make that all you pay, because that's really our strength with towns. I've been doing this for 20 years for my business. I didn't take towns because I didn't want to deal with red tape and all the government stuff and all that stuff. I got pulled into it when a town came to us and said, please help us. And they gave me a bid package, and I wrote them a bid, and I was very polite, and I faxed it back. And then I realized once we actually kind of got further with that, you budget, you pay your bills on time, you understand, a replacement schedule, things like that. And towns turn into like the least problems we have with any business we have. We have some huge companies that just run stuff into the ground until it dies. And then it's a crisis, and that sucks.
Mhm.
So, that's why we're going after towns now, we have for the last 4 to 5 years.
You said travel, what's your travel charge?
It's still the same rate, because it's the time I take a tech off the road. And this is contingent that we have a technician in the Bangor area. I don't expect he'll ever leave, and if he does, I expect to replace someone there. It's actually easier to find help in Bangor than it is in Portland, believe it or not. But it's the time off the road plus the travel time on the road. And that's it's 3 hours, and I'd probably cut that down to 2. But like I said, if it's regular support and we can't fix whatever your issue is, and we send somebody, it's included. But special projects is the other thing. So like I said, I see that as like being a 2% chance here.
So if we were to hire your company, what is the lead time from where we are now to being set up with our new system?
Right now we got a few projects going on, but I would say we could probably be scheduled and up here and done with the new computers within 2 weeks. Yeah, that's another way I run my business, is if I don't have enough help, I don't even put the shingle up. I have 45-star Google reviews, and it's not because I bribed anybody. If I take on business that I can't handle, then that slides, so we don't do that.
I don't have any other questions.
I think we've talked a couple of different times. What I like is there's a monthly fee. I know what I'm gonna have, I know I can budget with it,
Budgetable.
and, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
so,
with you there.
yeah, I
It makes
just,
you feel any better than when I pitched last night was $6,000 a month, so.
That makes me feel better. I feel a lot better now.
But those 3 selectmen are just as easy going as you guys were, so.
Yeah.
so I guess the next thing would be, is there a way you could get me a contract?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Mr. Customer. Well, if you want, you can sign that, but it's also online. You can just do it online if you want. If you want to read
okay.
through it, and like I said, there's no pressure, just,
Is this the same thing they have?
Yeah.
It is, okay.
That one has the extra verbiage in the back with the whole master services agreement and all that
Okay,
stuff.
so I'll give this to you guys.
But when you're ready, if not tonight, just do it online. We prefer it electronically.
Okay,
Because that way it kind of flows with the system. It kind of does some auto creating and all that stuff, so it's easier.
create digital files.
I'm trying to be paperless. Yeah, see.
My questions are answered, I think.
He's answered all my stuff.
Oh, one of the other things was not knowing your network that well. We included backing up all the computers that you have. So we included 3 computer backups at $15 a month. So if you don't need them all backed up, then you knock $15 off the computer. What we like to see is kind of like a server situation. If you have a server, that's great, but you're too small for that. I think.
We have a server.
Oh, you do? Oh, shit, okay. The other thing with the site survey is when we flush out exactly what you have, then that price could change. But I don't know if we actually included a server in there. Is it just a computer that acts like a server?
Yeah, it's sitting over in the corner.
So if it's like a Windows 10, Windows 11 computer, it's still considered a computer. If it's Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2012, 216, 222, 219, if it's like that, like a big full-blown server, that's a different story.
Yeah, no, this is a
My
little
guess is
tiny.
it's probably just a computer.
Mhm.
So if it is, then this is cool. And the backup is, it will back up every single thing on that computer as a full image. So if you lost something, you can get a file back the next day, or if you got ransomware, then we can actually restore the whole image back to another computer.
And the backup would go,
It goes to the cloud. It's
Okay.
DoD encrypted, you know, it's what you're supposed to have.
okay,
Yeah. And so like I said, if you have two computers that are kind of dumb terminals and one that's acting like a server, then knock off two of those. And we wouldn't start charging for that until we know exactly what you have anyway, so
okay.
we'd flush that out.
Well, that's been interesting.
Yeah, sorry.
Educational,
I'd rather talk about dirt roads, to be honest with
instead of scaring us to death.
you. Yeah.
Well, they haven't run away yet.
Nope.
They've
Yeah.
been with me for a solid month.
Oh, good, congratulations. I haven't heard of any drama here.
And I've thrown a lot at them, so I think that's a good thing. But this is definitely something, you know, we've got computers sitting there that are just sitting on the desk right now that,
Yeah.
you know, we could be using. My computer today, I was at the office working and I had to wait like 20 minutes before I could actually do anything on my computer, and then it took forever,
Yeah.
you know, to print anything off that I wanted to give them tonight, so.
And that, I'm sure you know this, but I'll just say it out loud, but that's productivity time that you are not getting a value on for cheap stuff, right? So we have, and that's really a frog that's been dipped in the warm water and it slowly boils and the frog ends up dead. We see users all the time where it's like, you know how slow the computer is, right? Oh, I'm used to it. And they have those, the bags under their eyes, they look like zombies. We get them a new computer and we get reviews on you can read them on our website about how happy they are that they got a brand new computer and they didn't have any idea how much time they would save because of that.
Right.
Because over time it just degrades, it fills up with junk and things like that. Part of the monitoring service though, it'll tell us if like the CPU is running that high or RAM is running that high. It'll send an alert to us and say, hey, is that a slow computer for you? If we say yeah, then we start to peel the onion back. If it's a newer computer, like under 3 years old, then we would suggest, hey, throw some more RAM in it, it's $50. Next time we come through, we throw it in for free. So not a big deal to do that, to just try to, for $50 get it up to speed instead of replacing it. Once it gets over 5 years old, it really is time to replace it because something else is going to break on it anyway, and you're just putting good money up past bad. So that's how we recommend that.
When it's time for new equipment, you don't handle any of that? We just buy our own equipment and put
Yeah,
it
no,
on
we
one?
like to handle it because we get the right business class stuff. So for instance, I think your stuff had Windows Home on it, or maybe it was Windows Pro. If you buy it at Best Buy, any of those big ones, it's junk, it really is. And it will come with Windows Home, you need Windows Pro. So that's the first $199 you spend just for the license to get that to Windows Pro. So that's not a saving in the end usually. But this probably doesn't apply too much to you being your size, but this is an example of the report you would get for your stuff. It's a hardware life cycle report, and what it does is it lists all your equipment, from oldest to newest. It wasn't here. You have 3, so it won't be a very long list, and it'll tell you what you should replace and when. Yeah, sure, I'm sorry. So we would know when we run that agent in that report, it'll tell us when the computer is manufactured, assumedly deployed a month after that, when the warranty ran out or runs out, and you would know which ones are your oldest ones. So we always say a 5-year cycle. So that way you can say, in 1, 3, and 5 years, here's what we're going to do. And it's all budgeted, you don't have to worry about it. First of the year comes, kind of an automatic thing. And then it's just about, whatever the price is at the time, and we usually get pretty good deals on Dells or Lenovo's. So. And when we replace those, that's included too, as long as it's not more than one at a time per month. So.
Well, I have no other questions.
No,
So to make the commitment to do this, we would do an online contract and forward it.
Yeah, once you hit the submit button, then all kinds of red lights come on my end, and we take care of it. Been served? Oh, here it is. So that's the report you get, anytime you want it. So this particular client has 65 computers, and you basically just turn to you don't have one page. It will show you oldest ones at the end, newest ones in the beginning, serial numbers, so it's all, it's good for inventory and tracking and things like that. Who's logged into it, serial number, model, make, all that. When it was bought, and when the warranty expires. So.
Good stuff for the budget committee.
exactly, that's, at least they have a plan for us. You
Right.
know, it's not wait until it dies before we,
And you get quarterly reports too, on how many tickets, how many tickets per computer came in, so you know who the problem computers are or the people using them.
I lose stuff, that's,
Hey, we like people that, like computer people, so I'd be drinking a brown paper bag into that fridge if it works, so.
Yeah. Okay,
so I think we're good.
I think we're good.
All right,
We do appreciate you making the trip and
Yeah.
explaining it to us.
long way to camp anyway, so.
Yeah,
Mosey on the cove.
that worked out good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks guys, if there's any questions, just shoot me an email. We'll definitely follow up on that thing you got from Lewiston, because
Okay,
if that has opened up in Maine, that's a big.
that was the second email from her and that came in late
Yeah.
this
Where's
afternoon.
came in from her, not MMA though, it's weird,
I'm not sure what her affiliation is.
yeah.
She might be an instructor through MMA.
Oh, yeah. they-
Which I think
they might
she
have
is.
representatives and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, yeah, okay. Cool, well, nice to meet you guys.
Yes.
Same
nice
here.
meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. Great talking with you. Yeah, nice to meet you. We'll see you soon.
And we'll talk to you again. Thank you.
I already
So-
said that, I just didn't know if I wanted to say it, fire him up even more.
So while we're on this topic, where do we wanna go decision-wise? Is this a decision we can make?
Yeah, this
Is
is,
it within the budget to make this decision?
well, I think a lot of that actually depends on what happens on
That's
Saturday.
exactly what I thought too.
That will tell you, because we have the $10,000 in there. His price is a lot cheaper than what SJ Rollins quoted us by quite a bit. And we would have some wiggle room if something needed to be added to what he gave us for a quote.
He was considerably less,
He
right?
was, yes, he was,
Like half.
yep. So I think maybe have to wait until Saturday before we can make a decision.
Okay. So, on that, I'll make a motion that we just table that until we get the results of our meeting Saturday. And then put it on our agenda to make that decision once we know where we're at Saturday. We're having a work session next Wednesday. Is that the plan or?
Yes, as far as I know, yep. Next Wednesday is the 28th,
So we'd be 2 weeks before we'd make a decision.
right. So I think, I mean, you could do a board meeting that, you know, right after town meeting, I don't know, that's a lot, but I don't know, you could do it a couple different ways.
There's gonna be a couple of the decisions to be made after town
Yeah.
meeting. And I don't know if we should take next Wednesday's session and actually make it a board meeting. So that we can, I just think it's gonna be important to be able to take what happened
Some of
Saturday and start applying it.
Apply it, yep. Okay.
if we can.
So I wanna make a motion that we table that until our next meeting and until after town meeting.
Second.
And the vote? Yeah.
Okay, we'll turn the 28th into a board meeting rather than a work session.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on, item B, signing cemetery deeds.
All right. We have three, which, one other thing I'd like to discuss with you about the cemetery is they set the price at $175 per lot. So a lot is one casket or 4 to 5 cremains. It's $175, that includes a deed that goes with that. The actual lots are set up with six lots, so 6 caskets. And you get 6 for $600 rather than $175 each. And you only pay for one deed, so $25. You're losing money.
Okay.
So it's $175 each, so $150 without the registry fee. You're losing about $300.
Was that designed to encourage people to buy a whole family plot? Why was that made that way?
I have no idea because I cannot find any bylaws whatsoever concerning cemeteries.
So there's 6 in a grouping, right? For $625.
Right,
And at $175 a piece would be $1,050.
yep. So I don't know what the reasoning was for the pricing, but nowadays cremains are so much more used than caskets.
Right.
You know, do you want to sell all those lots and run out of space?
Right.
When you could use these for your residents and put 5 in a lot. Just something for you to think about.
Okay.
But I discovered that earlier today.
Is this from my parents?
Yeah, I think your parents are in there, there's 3 of them in there.
They don't need to be in there.
By the 175. And
Let's hold theirs until we can crank the price up.
so these are people applying for.
Yep, and those have already been paid for.
They already been paid for. So we just need to sign
You
them.
just, yep, those are just a simple signature so that they can get their deeds recorded.
Guess I better buy mine before they go out.
Well, and you might have a reason, they might be trying to encourage like a family plot or whatever, or maybe give the residents a discount. I'm not sure the reasoning behind it, but when I sat down and started figuring it out, and you're actually cheaper for your lots than you are than some other towns.
We are.
Abbott is another one that's really, they only sell their lots for $100 a piece. And I don't know if there's a group rating or not up there.
There can't be too many more left in Norton Mill, is there?
I don't think so. There was one that Sam mentioned this week, and I don't know which one it is, because you have 7, is full. You can't put any more in there. Of course, most of these are down here in the village cemetery. There was Norton Mills. I think
Townhouse Road.
French's Mills might be getting close to.
It's gotta be, it's an old.
I was gonna say, we've had a couple situations.
Townhouse Road still has quite a few lots left, doesn't it? And that, when you first turn in, that whole first section is undeveloped.
You're talking about actually.
Yeah.
It's,
Buy it now while they're cheap.
I'm sure the reader though.
Okay, so, moving on. Item C, an update from Josh on the Flanders Hill work and hiring somebody to put up the signs that we've purchased.
Yes, and signs that were delivered today.
They came
They
today?
came this afternoon, yep.
These ATV signs.
This is those are corner signs.
There's a corner sign, yep.
And two roads that
Did we end up ordering the water sign?
Yep, we did.
You did put
Yep.
it through? Okay.
and it's here.
And it's here, yep, it arrived. There were two big signs, and Memory Lane and Naughty Pine Lane, something like that.
Who do we have put the signs up?
That's the
That's a
question.
good question.
Sorry, contractor, right?
I would think, so we got just the signs, we gotta have the posts to put them on and somebody to put them there. correct?
Well, and I didn't
We got
know,
5 posts in the, we got a ton of signs up there too, and I mean, an unbelievable. We must have updated all the road signs at one time too, because there's some really good road signs up there, you know, the names
Mhm,
of almost every road in town.
mhm.
So,
Was there a 911 update at some point?
There was, but none of them wouldn't have been a reason for them to change. I think they might have got them extra for people taking them, I don't know.
some of them look brand
But
new.
yeah, I've seen them all up
There's
there.
a pile of stop signs up there, brand new. Trucks, please don't use Jake brakes or however they put it. Brand new, still in the packages.
Sent a couple of them home with Bryce.
well, and there's a couple signs in the old town office that were in our office, I didn't know what to do with. One is a horse. There was, some lady called and wanted to know if we could put a sign up because she's got horses. There was another one too, handicap child maybe? But there's a couple in the town office.
They should probably go down to the town garage.
Yeah,
So
I didn't have access to that at that point though.
on what you two are reading, or you two have read there, just so you know, Corinna, it always was that Haley's screened Corinna's gravel,
Mhm.
and Haley's got the rock for doing the screen. So essentially, Corinna is making money off that, and that's what they're not hauling out of the brown pit, Haley's brown pit, they're hauling out of Corinna's pit, which is straight off the corner.
Mhm,
But it's still going to Ready Rock.
mhm.
So. But yes, we only have 5 posts,
Okay,
and I think that's just enough to do it,
I have 4 signs.
4 signs, so.
Okay.
And then Flanders Hill, is starting tomorrow. He didn't want to start today, because at the beginning of the week, they were calling for a chance of an inch of rain today. And we couldn't really see it washing out
Doing it
right
twice.
behind doing what we were doing,
Mhm.
so.
Is he somebody that we could contract to put the signs up? do you
Oh, yeah.
think?
Yep.
So where do we go with that, as far as, do we just have a conversation with him and have him put the signs up while he's doing this piece of work for us?
Yeah, I think so. I would. I mean, I don't know what you have for a contract, but the contract for that road is we don't really know what it's gonna take, we don't know what we're gonna run into, you know? It's basically just what his stuff gets per hour,
Mhm.
so,
And we've authorized him to fix it.
right, so,
So I'm assuming if we tail this sign detail on it, it's just gonna be just that.
yeah, I mean, what's he gonna
By
have,
the
2
hour.
hours into going around putting up the signs, and
Mhm.
the only thing is that I don't know is where them 2 new roads are. I don't even know where they are.
So one,
Memory Lane is off,
What is it, which one?
Memory Lane, I think
It's
is off
off Brock.
Ames,
is
is
it
up,
Brockway Mills and then you
Oh,
go
is it
up
this
straight?
one? First one on the left? Keeps going down in?
Mm.
I think so, and then I have no idea where Naughty Pines is. I have not learned
Is
the
that
road
out
yet.
off Borough Road?
I think so.
I think it is. I think it's a campground.
It is, they just
There's
bought
some
new
cabins
camps.
in there.
Yep, they
Yeah,
just,
if, almost to the town line before you get to the railroad crossing,
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know what you're
there's
talking about.
a little camp.
Yeah, Naughty Pine
Log,
Campground.
yeah.
Or,
I'm guessing that's where it
Yeah.
is, cause that's the only thing I've heard associated with Naughty Pine.
That's where it is.
This memory lane is off Brockway Mills, going in by the dam to Center Pond, right?
so the first left.
No.
Yes, you go,
Is it?
if you start up Brockway Mills, instead of hanging right, you
Go straight.
Ames Lane is straight.
Yeah,
As soon as you start on Ames Lane, you take
It
the
goes
left.
to the left.
There you
by the
go.
brook.
Yeah, we had to walk it to figure out the,
yeah.
How many people in there?
there's one camp on one side, and then there's another camp right nearby. We weren't sure if we needed to
Seasonal.
number both.
Seasonal.
Yeah. But the other one had its own entrance, so it came off a different direction.
So we've already made an agreement with him to do the work on Flanders Hill. I'm just gonna make a motion that we ask him to put the signs up while he's out doing our road work.
Yep.
Second.
So unanimous, we're gonna have the signs put up at the same time. Okay, moving on to item D, recommitment of taxes and settlement certificate.
Okay, so when you sign the paperwork and give the tax collector the responsibility of collecting all the taxes, you sign documents in the commitment book and the valuation book stating that that person's responsible for collecting all the money. Well, now that Jeff has left, and then we have to do a settlement, this is how much he collected, and then you have to recommit the balance to the next tax collector. That's what you're doing, and you're using me as your tax collector.
Interim tax collector.
No, actually, I found where I actually was appointed tax collector.
You are,
Yep.
You can put that one.
Okay, perfect.
okay. So this is taking the commitment from Jeff and assigning it to you.
Yep. And you're signing off that Jeff has collected his amount and that I'm taking on the balance. So one is a settlement saying he's free and clear of collecting taxes, and it's now all on my job.
Your responsibility. Didn't give me a very big line to write on the show.
Sorry, that came out of trio.
Now, once we hire a town manager, does that become town manager's responsibility, or you are the tax?
I'm tax collector, so it stays on me.
It does.
Yep.
So this is a one-time deal.
Yep,
Jeff was acting as tax collector while he was here,
yep,
and you are
Because
now
he was interim now.
officially
I'm officially, yep,
tax collector.
yep. So now we have some abatements and some supplementals. I am holding on to one because I want to make sure that it's correct. We had an issue with two residents where one name got on somebody else's tax bill. Like, it was really messed up. And I have a supplemental and I have an abatement. And I think we want to ignore the abatement, but I want to talk to Hamlin's again before I actually bring it to you to sign. Make sure that I do have it in the right direction. So we have a Michael Robinson. This is an abatement.
I don't remember reading that name on those. I don't remember this Robinson one. I don't remember an email on this one.
That might have been in that big file you gave us
I was saying, was
2
it
weeks ago,
doubled up?
actually. I think. Speaking of abatements, we can't go back on abatements once we sign them, can we?
I don't know, I've never been asked that question.
Well, I didn't realize what lot it was, but here we are talking about East Sangerville Road, and we signed an abatement. early on, one of the first ones we all signed together was Town of Corinna for that pit. And here they are down the road, have been for,
Well, and we have a message from Hamlin's stating that Corinna is looking to go back 2 more years and get abatements, because they can go back 3 years. They want to go back, because it was Lois Jones, is that right?
yeah.
She wants to go back 2 more years and get abatements, because you just signed the one the other day.
Yeah.
She hasn't filed the paperwork.
I wish I feel a little more comfortable in this now, you know, then I think it was just totally, I didn't quite get it, you know. Or I'd have said something, but. I mean, if anything, I think we need to go up on the taxes.
Yes, right here. This is the one concerning, I'm gonna pass it to you, because that's the one dealing with, the Corinna.
Yeah, I read this one.
Trying to decide, is this Robinson property on the pond, or is it just like just a wooded lot?
I have no idea.
There's no map, no,
There's a map and lot, I think, but I did not go hunt down the location for you.
to me, this is a big deal whether or not if it's on the water or it's not on the water.
Isn't the water frontage taxed at a different rate? Maybe not at the mill rate, but at a.
At a per foot, if it's shoreline.
Right.
It's per foot, yeah.
Is there any statement about that in it?
No, I don't know if you can read it. It's pretty vague. That one's had to make a decision on,
And so last time I put the road in because they don't, and I forgot to do it with this one.
And there's nothing from.
There's not a Hamlin opinion on it either. I don't think we have enough information on that one to,
We can table it till your next meeting.
I think we need a little more homework on that one.
Okay, and I can do a map and the lot number for you.
Josh has obviously looked at it,
I don't know if he actually physically goes out to review or if it's a phone call conversation. I'm not sure which it is that he does. Now I've got 2 here that are denials. Mr. Mayo, application, there's no change. He's talked to him on the phone. I'm just gonna hand this to you so you can read it. And this one is Kathy Haskell and Mike Kluge,
11,
and they also
7.
spoke to him. And those are both denials.
Push the pond. They're on it. Jeff. It's on the water. It's on the water.
yeah.
So,
I don't think so either. If it's on the water, I mean, that sounds like it's right.
yeah,
If it was a little lot in the middle of the woods, and no road going to it,
right.
then he'd be right.
I mean, it is on that upper end where it's.
Still a waterfront.
No, well, it ain't. It's not even. What the hell?
Okay, so the reason on this was the land was priced as developed rate and should not have been.
Which one is this one on?
That's the Robinson one.
The
that you-
Robinson.
Yeah,
Let's work on that one. Keep from being confused.
Yeah, there is a road to it, so it's not like it's.
There's a road to it and it's waterfront.
Yeah.
And how big is the lot?
It's 300 foot of frontage, 580 back on the short side, 640 on the long side, and I mean, it's 300 foot wide the whole way, it's just. Yeah,
I think that the tax amount's accurate on that one. I mean, just a little 125 foot lot selling for near to 100 grand on any one of these small ponds. You know, what they're being taxed for in other towns versus
Right, so do you
what it will
want,
sell for.
do you want Josh to talk to you, or do you just simply want to deny?
that must be on that. I've never been down it, but just after the ball field on the right, there's
Yep.
that little road that goes down in.
Craig Lane,
Craig Lane, that's what it's on.
yep.
Yep.
And it does go to the water. Yeah, and I think it's accurate.
So that didn't come from Josh, it came from him.
This came from Josh,
Well, that came from.
this comes from Josh.
And Josh thought we should deny the abatement. That was his opinion, right? He hasn't given an
No,
opinion.
this, not this one. This one he put through for you to go ahead and sign. Those two I just handed you, those were denials.
Yeah.
One was Mr. Mayo and the other one was Haskell, I think.
Okay. He's being taxed on 76,000 or something.
There's an outhouse there, they must have a spot for a camper or a tent or something.
So do I have a motion and a second on action taken on Mr. Robinson?
I feel the tax amount's accurate on that lot.
I,
Therefore, I would make a motion that we deny the abatement.
A second.
A vote?
Okay, thank you. I will let Josh know tomorrow morning. These have been reviewed by Josh. These are all denials. It's Philip Gatecombe, Kenneth and Deborah Sutton, Barrett Newt, and Robert and Ellen Haley.
Yep. So did you guys read everything that came on the email with these? One of the ones I've driven by a couple of them. This guy with Robbie and Ellen. So you guys went down through and you looked at all the comps that Josh did on Rob and Ellen's house. Did you go down and read all the attachments in the email?
I don't think I did read all the attachments, no.
I think they're all right. Take just a second, look at them. You read them, Mike? Just take a second and look at the attachments. What he did is a bunch of comps on similar property.
And I believe too, Susan is here tonight. She had submitted an abatement, and I believe it came in late this afternoon as a denial, which I did not print off for you.
Okay. So we won't be able to address that until the next meeting?
No, not, right, Susan's will be next meeting, so that'll be next week, but, and I'll get that printed off and emailed to all of you.
Okay.
I get, what was your thoughts on this, Jeff?
I too did a little bit of, all I did is went on Realtor.com just to kind of get a feel for some comps on some of these when I read them, just to see what people are asking, see what stuff sold for. And I think that one's assessed at like $288, something like that. I think if they were to put that house on the market, they would ask all of that and then some for it, I would.
Oh, I think they would start today's market at 4 and into the mid-3s, I mean.
I do too. And, you know, our valuation is, we've moved to 100% evaluation. I don't think that one is wrong. I think it's accurate.
Right. Yeah.
So, so this is a denial of the abatement request.
Right.
And my understanding is they have an option to come back and talk about it if they're not satisfied with it, or this is the end of the road, right here.
Oh, no, they can come back after we send the letter out, they can come back, they can talk to the board, and then they can go to the county commissioners for the
Right.
final ruling.
That's
So,
what I thought.
yep.
Is Josh part of that?
Yes,
That was my interpretation of it.
Yep.
I want to clarify it so we're all on the same page. So when you're signing that, we'll move on to the next one. This one is for the Barrett Newt property, and Barrett owns 2 pieces of property in South Sangerville. I drove by his place. I think the land is land, and there's nothing that changes it, and I think the land is probably accurate. The house, Barrett's concerned, no new maintenance, no new construction, buildings deteriorating, grossly over assessed. He's assessed at $73,820, and he's requesting a $36,480 abatement.
He also hasn't responded back to Josh with anything, right?
That was kind of where I felt about it too.
Yeah.
If he couldn't respond back, then, you know, and I agree with you, I mean, there's a big portion of that house that's in.
Falling down.
Yes.
It's a cost liability, not an asset.
Right. But is
But-
the place worth 73,000 in today's market? Yeah, it's probably right there.
If you were to buy it for $73,000, you've got that much in cleanup to, you know, the barns are falling down, the houses.
Yeah,
The land, I don't think his land is off. I question whether or not the house is accurately assessed. Is it off $36,000? I don't think so.
no. but then he didn't, He
But
didn't
we've got
make
no
it go
communication with Josh either.
right.
Where do we go with this one?
Well, my personal opinion is design it, agree with it.
And then if he disagrees with it, he'll have to take it further up.
Right.
So Josh, did you read the letter that Josh included with this one? I did too. I think that's what we're gonna have to do where there's no communication. Sign the date and I can't remember it.
Could change tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, out of all of them, that was the one I questioned the most, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't there another page, is there another page on the front of that?
Yeah, there may be two because there's a piece, I think the land is accurately assessed. I mean, 15 grand for that piece of land is,
There's two here.
yeah, we got some.
I was gonna say, I was thinking it was,
You remember the date?
Got it. While we're doing that. Where is this Dutton lot, do you know? Kenneth and Deborah Dutton.
What map, what law?
It is map 10, lot 5.
It's already there. So it's the piece. It's right on the parking line. Right on Manhattan, I don't.
It's still waterfront, it's got like 50 feet of frontage.
I don't know, what
What
it's
is
gotta
it?
be more than 50 feet, it's probably more like 300 or 400 feet of frontage.
It says this property receives a 200 front foot reduction in price due to the access issue and another 50 front foot price reduction due to the poor shape of the frontage, not prime water land.
Well, I think it's that piece right where the power lines cross, if you went from Harlow where it's all lily pads and,
Yeah. So Josh's input is if the owners can supply information that the lot is unbuildable, then we should consider it. So in theory, it's a waterfront front lot and its new valuation is $69,850. Again, it's a waterfront lot.
Can't have water.
It says the parcel size is 5 acres.
yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it said that lot was what, 3 acres, 11.7. It's completely down. It's completely opposite over there, Jeff. It's bigger, it probably is 5 acres.
Am I reading this right? Parcel acres 5. Again, I'm inclined to think it's got waterfront, it's 5 acres of land. The only thing that would hold me up is if it was truly unbuildable.
I don't think there's anything on, cause that whole side of that pond is a berm there and it's out.
I'm inclined to deny that one.
That's your file, or is that our shared file?
That's like passing on plan. It's under the pit issue or something he was talking about.
Oh, that was the Corinna.
Yeah.
My thought is that she should file the abatement forms for the years that she wants abatements, not just an email.
Yeah, exactly. She could do it very well, for sure.
I mean,
Awesome.
Did she fill out a abatement form for the very first one we did, or did she do it by email?
nope, she filled one out, and I believe you signed that one the last time. And then that email just came from Josh stating that she's looking for the last 2 years back. So 23 and
That's what all
22.
of them.
Yeah, that's the one we gotta figure out how to make it.
So this one, Susan Estes.
Oh, you were on the pile.
What's
I
that?
must have missed you. This is
That's
Susan.
Estes. You're in the pot. So what was the previous? Last year it was valued at 79,380, and for 24 it went to 168,130. And she's requesting a reduction of $61,100, which would put her at just over 100,000 valuation. And lot size is 2.7 acres. Looks like a small piece. Yeah, you guys can take a look and see what you think. How did you come up with the number you wanted to reduce your taxes by?
I asked help.
I'll say I didn't help you on that one. Sammy walked you through the process, I think, right?
So through that process, how does that work? I've never watched it happen.
We just kind of talk about like, what has she got, what doesn't she have, has there been any improvements? What do you think is a fair price? If you don't think it should go all the way to this price, then what do you think it should go up to that would be favorable, like you could sell it? And so we just kind of dickered with numbers until she got down to a point that she said that she thought that would be fair.
Okay. It's hard too because the assessor has done, our assessment is not a full inspection style
Right.
assessment.
He came yesterday and walked through the house,
He did,
and walked around the house.
and he had written this opinion before that or after that?
If you got the email today, he must have did it overnight,
Yeah,
because he
it's
was there at 2 yesterday.
2 o'clock yesterday.
So the opinion he's included was after a walkthrough of your house?
Yeah.
I wanna just read what he said.
Is there a date on the letter?
It should be on the next page, I think. Right there.
820.
That was yesterday. Have you heard Josh's opinion on your
He didn't
property?
sound favorable when he was talking to me.
Would you like us to read his opinion to you?
Okay.
It said, I have reviewed map 1 lot 19-02 property value and feel that this assessment for the property is in line with market value. I feel with this present market and condition of this home, this would be a fair market value. The property for last year was valued at $79,380 and for 2024 went up to $168,130. This is due to the recent adjustments the town had to make to reach the goal of assessing property at 100% of market value. The state of Maine law identifies just value, which is the guidelines of a fair and equitable assessment to be market value. The town's ratio was low, which is what prompted the town-wide adjustment. The state sends out an auditor for the town every year to determine the town's ratio. This is done by looking at the property that has been sold, the price that it is sold at, and looking at the assessed value of the property to determine the ratio of the town. I feel this property would sell for the value we have assessed it at. And then he goes on to say his job is to create a schedule that prices property through the town on the same pricing manual, which is also an average of what like properties will sell for in town. I feel this assessment is fair and equitable. And Josh Moran. What do you feel like you could sell your house for if you put it on the market right now? What would you ask for your house?
Well, I'd probably ask 150. I
Yeah.
really would, you know.
Yep, I kind of felt the same way. I feel like if we brought this down, and I'm speaking for me, if we brought this down to just over 100, I think it would be undervalued. What do you guys think?
What was the address? I think I lived in that house at one time.
Really?
Were you on the department that came out when I had on the fire department?
No.
So it's 73 French's Mills Road.
I can't remember if it was 73.
It appears there's a little white cape. Is that-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not far in on the right.
It's Lemieux. Lemieux built it in 79. There's a quarter mile in on the right.
From 23?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I went one. I lived in that.
you can see Eastland across.
Well, I feel like if we honored your abatement, that you would be undervalued. I think you probably agree.
Yeah. I needed to ask, that's all. I just had
Yeah.
to ask and see if it would happen.
I think it sounds to me like it's probably right at 100% valuation, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's probably not gonna bring much more than that if you were to advertise it and sell it.
Yeah,
But I think at $100,000 you'd be really undervalued, which is not fair to the rest of the taxpayers. Everybody's gotta pull their weight. Based on that, I think we should decline it. As Michelle said, the county commission is the next step if you don't agree with what we've done. unfortunately, with what's happened with real estate, this is something that needed to be done. And it hasn't been done in small increments.
Yeah,
It's been let go for a time.
earthquake,
Yep,
bang,
that is where we're at, unfortunately.
yeah.
So as written, I'm inclined to decline it.
I'm with you.
From there, you've got other options, but that's,
I accept it, that's fine.
okay.
If you was here with Josh, actually during one of the town meetings we had, when he came and explained the increases and how it came, if you, I was just saying, if you were here,
Oh,
then
yeah,
you,
okay.
you would understand
Yeah,
where we were at with this.
well, I know several realtors, so, yeah, I understand value.
Yep. And that's a nice little house that you have.
It is. I just hope I can keep it a nice little house until I am able to sell it.
Yeah. So as Michelle said, you do have other options if you don't agree with what we're saying. There was enough of a difference there where I think you would be really undervalued at $100,000, or just over $100,000. We appreciate you coming in and having a conversation about it. That's how it should be done.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is Philip Gatcomb, Gator.
You know,
I do.
I guess so.
nickname, that's, you know,
Who doesn't?
I guess I could.
I don't either.
You don't know Gator?
No. I don't think Matt does either, so.
No, I don't think I do.
I mean, if I saw him, I might know him, but
Don't know him by that nickname.
no.
This one's a little different. It's, talking about a homestead exemption. He's asking for $12,250 reduction. I'll let you guys read that so I can interpret it.
You just did an abatement for him, I believe, the last meeting, of $71 and some change. He didn't get his veteran exemption, that's what that abatement was.
I know I remembered something that.
Yep. So in this is referring to homestead exemption amounts.
I think he did get his homestead exemption this year, because it was quite a detailed conversation back and forth.
Mhm.
But he didn't get his veteran.
That's hard, like, with these abatements, you know, you can't. It's really hard to have a conversation about it. They're asking for a certain amount, Josh has looked at it and given us an opinion.
Exactly.
Like that previous one, it would have been grossly undervalued.
And this is why you hire him to do this type of stuff. I mean, it is a full-time job to keep up with the laws, the rules, all the paperwork from tree growth to exemptions.
And it's really hard because people ask for way more than what is logical.
Right.
So it's gonna become a denial. Some of these, they might be off a little, but they're not off $60,000. And that's, as people do these abatements, they need to keep that in mind.
Well, and they have until December, to decide if, they think it's fair, if it's not fair, and file abatements. I think you've gotten through most of the abatements. Mrs. Estes was the last one, because I emailed Josh and said, is there any more? And he said, this is it for now. So I think we're all caught up there.
Well, again, if they had came in when Josh was presenting this whole tax scenario, they would have a better understanding of how it worked.
It's very complicated, you know.
It is and it isn't. I mean, I got an email on these abatements. I looked at what was in the email, and then I just clicked on Realtor.com. And I did some quick comps of my own, just to educate myself. From right this town, Guilford, right here, right in this area. And so far, I'm not seeing that they're off. I mean, we're still considerably less than the asking price on comparable places,
Right. Well,
even though
what-
we're at 100% valuation.
What the state does is they come in with the auditor, comes to Josh's, and they pull out all the transfer forms. And then they rule out, like, was it family related, is it this, is it, you know? And they rule it all out and finally get down to a point of, these are real sales. And that's how your ratio comes from.
Right.
Problem is, $100,000 house 10 years ago is
250,000.
listed for $250 now, and somebody will come and offer you $280 for it just to get it, and the market's just wild.
It is, it is.
But that's the reality. Your tax valuation is a reflection of what it's worth.
Of course it is.
And it's worth what you can sell it for.
And unfortunately, we've had several people come to the office that can't afford any more increases. You know, they've just,
And I understand that too, and I'm sympathetic to that. But to be sympathetic to it, you also have to be sympathetic to everybody else, because taxation is about sharing the load equally.
true,
And it is a hard call.
very hard call.
I didn't totally understand where Gator was coming from on his. I didn't understand where the 12,000 came from.
I'm not 100% certain as to where he lives,
So if you
but
go,
I believe we came close to it when Sammy took me on the 911
I
adventure.
tell you exactly where he lives.
Yeah.
If you go out past Cleve's farm,
Yeah,
you go around the corner, you've got the West Road, you got McNaughton Hill Road.
yeah,
Go straight on McNaughton Hill, and you'll come down to an intersection, and the road goes through Kittredge Hill, or it goes to the Burst Road to the
Yep.
right. If you go out Kittredge Hill,
yep,
and you go down, the road gets narrow, narrow, narrow.
that's where I was.
Yep, so you go down there, and Gator lives in a fairly small, brand-new place on the left.
Okay,
Because I think there's one or two camps beyond him. He used to live on the right, and he had a big garage, and he fixed cars up there.
okay, so I believe part of his argument is where he lives in,
The services he's receiving because of where he lives.
right,
I read through that one 2 or 3 times, and I tried to figure out where he was coming up with the $12,000 reduction.
and I'm not sure on that.
Because there's not a lot to ask for, and I wanted to make sure he didn't think there was a mathematical problem in his homestead exemption. That's kind of how it felt to me, and I want to make sure that wasn't what he was trying to make for a point.
Well, and last year, the homestead exemptions got dropped to like 19,750 because you weren't 100%. And this year, they're all up to the 25,000.
So does the 12,000, whatever he's asking for, is that the difference between current homestead and last year's homestead?
No,
It's not.
A lot of that's what he believes is wetland value. Is what I'm getting. I think like 8,000 of it is his difference in wetland, from what he's saying. So did he bring in any proof that,
No, he just wrote the abatement form out.
I mean, I know for a fact that piece is wet, but, I mean, Josh suggested to him right here in writing that he bring in a map and show where the wetland was, and if he hasn't brought it in, made the effort.
Well, but he hasn't got the letter yet. That letter will go out after you guys sign. Those letters that are attached to these that are
This here?
Josh's will go out after you.
Yes, but he said I suggested, which means that he's
Oh,
talked to
maybe he
him.
talked to him, okay.
You know, in my interpretation of that.
And again, with all of these, they have further options beyond us, right?
Yep,
Exactly. There's all parties involved.
There's only one parcel here, right?
I believe so.
And again, you look at this, he's on a little narrow road, but Phil's got it, it's a new home, it's up to date, and it's assessed at $92,780. And what's it sit on, some acreage? We don't see the acreage listed on this
I
one.
thought he wrote it, I'm thinking he said 12 somewhere.
Parcel size, 23.6.
Maybe he meant 12 acres of wetland.
Yeah, this is the little home that he's got built right beside the road.
Oh, okay. I recognize that, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, because Sammy wanted me to keep going on the goat path, and I said no. I backed
It's a
up.
little rough down in there. So with 23 acres and a new home at $96,000, I think that's,
Yeah, nobody can go right through it the way though, just so you know.
Yeah, but I was scratched.
She's a little bit rougher right now than it was. All that rain washed out a lot of it.
Oh my God.
I ain't been through it this year.
It's real rocky.
it's rocky.
I pounded the Subaru down there one day.
See, it's Subaru well.
I wasn't
Because
gonna.
it wouldn't start the next day.
Yeah, totally.
Other than that, it was good.
Other than that, it was all right.
Okay, so that's the last of our abatements.
That is.
Okay.
All right. So there's two things here that I didn't actually put on while you're signing. There's the Flanders Hill cleanup contract that I had drawn up for Josh. And then this is the winter plowing contract.
For CW New,
Yep. I took the handwritten one and
converted them into a
I
contract.
did.
You don't wanna sign the one he signed?
He hasn't
Oh,
signed
no,
any
that's,
yet.
that's the plowing one.
Yeah, no, he hasn't signed one yet. Neither one of them have.
What about the one he signed to the one I just handed you a few minutes ago? We gotta sign that.
I handed it back to you. Didn't I? The one you just handed me.
No, I handed it to you a while ago. For the salt pile. Sand pile.
Oh, that's in,
I see the salt pile is happening.
It's done.
Yeah, looks good.
that's somewhere on this one.
Hate on that.
I made all of your committee, oh, right here. There you go.
Committee sign-up sheets?
Yeah, I've got budget, road, you name it. Okay, so during that conversations here about computers, we had this one person that none of us could figure out concerning our website. Her name was Brenda Schultz. And I actually found where Ken Woodbury, back in 2015, he's the one that set her up for our website. That's the only piece of paper that I found that has any sort of communication. I did write her to find out, you know, what is she doing with our website? I have not got an answer back yet. So that's just kind of an FYI.
I think she takes, that name, I think she takes pictures.
Yeah,
Does
she's some kind of a marketing, I think she does some stuff out in California for,
Really?
yeah. Yeah, I used to work with her husband.
Oh, okay.
I think she's moved on to bigger, better things, but I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure if it's the same woman we're talking about.
Well, are
Okay.
we still paying her?
We evidently did pay her in December.
What?
I don't know for what, because her bill didn't have anything for phone number, nothing, website, email, nothing. It had no contact information. Do you want me to keep going with the town clerk stuff and then go back to the executive session, or do you want to do executive session next? I mean, I know it's in that order, but,
Let's move to item 9, town clerk's report.
okay, so Mr. Lambert was in, you've seen his bills. He said there are some issues on the Grant Road and the Silvers Mills Road. Grant Road has some lines that are hanging down, like from Premium Choice or something like that, that when he went down the road with the sickle bar, he got tangled up in them. So he wanted the town to be aware of those lines just kind of thrown in the ditch. And then, yeah, they're just kind of like,
Leftover stuff.
yep. And then the Silvers Mills Road, there's a point where the line from the telephone pole, the securing line or guide wire, is attached like right beside the road. So you're gonna get snagged up in it if you're cutting roadside. So I told him I would bring that to you, just for your knowledge. I have found the Line Road information, it's in your packets. Butch Lemio evidently owns the dump site, and he doesn't want it.
So that, he's dealt with a lawyer. That's supposed to go back to George Harms.
Oh, well, he didn't tell me that. So I did some, kind of, a little bit of research on this. When I looked it up, it's 7 acres, it's built by itself, and it's in tree growth. Well, tree growth, you have to have 10 acres to be in tree growth. So there's like 3 different lots, and evidently they have combined them so that the 7 acre lot could be part of tree growth. But that's where the dump is. And Butch owns it now, and he doesn't want it. And he kept talking about George Arms and paying him $1,000 and get it deeded to the town for the back taxes that he was paid, that he's paid for 30 years.
So let's rewind to the tree growth thing. Butch owns the dump, and Butch owns the woodlot right beyond the dump. So they're combining the deeds to qualify for tree growth.
Yep,
Woodlot where he was cutting
yep, and you'll see it in your
is
packet.
the dump lot.
That is the dump lot?
That is the dump lot.
Okay.
Then he owns the pieces behind it.
Yep.
Bush has
Where's the
since-
access to those pieces? How do you get to them?
Through that,
He's got a deeded right away through the dump lot?
no, I don't think so. I think it was just that George had always owned them, you know, years ago, there was a lot of lots that didn't have deeded access.
And if you look in your packets, you're gonna see the tree growth paperwork, and there's a map attached to it. I think it's right after the Line Road. If you take that big paper clip off, you should be able to find, it should be right behind the Line Road information.
Okay.
But Butch was the only one who had it in tree growth, right? George didn't have it in tree growth.
It went into tree growth in 2015, and I do believe that George owned it when it went into tree growth. I think if you go back far enough, I think I photocopied all of them. Yeah, right there, George Arms.
Butch has sensed that the dump, just from the upper line,
Mhm.
closest to this way, down to the valley between the wood yard and there, that has been deeded off, whether it's been filed with you guys or not.
I haven't seen anything, but that would be through Josh Moore and Hamlin's, right?
No, it would go to the registry.
Registry.
Registries, I haven't seen anything yet on that.
Okay, but that was just done a little while ago, so you may not have seen it yet. But he gave that piece back to George.
Okay, so I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
He gave it back to him and he followed through with a deed? Like he legally gave it back to him or he just said yes?
They had a lawyer involved. I mean, I wasn't there for the meeting, but that's what he's expressed to me several times, you know. But George Harms owned this in 1977 when he let the town use it as a dump, you know. So he's owned it, paid for it all these years as the dump. And that's, my guess is that's what Butch is, why he would like to see George paid for that. Because he did pay on it all them years, and it would be good to. I don't know how we could have ever legally had a dump.
Guilford did too, up on the, Joe Moran. If you turn into, McFetus Road coming from 15,
Right there by the power line.
the town owned that dump, or had that dump, and it was on Joe Moran. We had to actually pay rent on that property to have our dump there. And then Guilford had to fill it in and take care of it.
So was George ever compensated for us using his land as a dump? Did we ever pay him rent on it?
I have no idea.
Where's he from?
Mass.
Yeah.
He owns-
Several pieces in town.
He owns over by me, doesn't he, on the power
Yeah,
line?
well, actually, that just got sold. The guy over by me that works for the telephone company, Consolidated, he bought that right across from Lance Burgess's garage. That was his. Yeah. But I don't think he bought the whole thing either.
So what are they, what are we being asked to do with this?
This was just
Which
more
ones?
FYI stuff. This is what Butch came in to the office and was asking me, you know, to bring it to you, that about the $1,000 paying George for. But as far as I know, Butch still owns it at this point.
I think right now, by all technicalities, until everything's through, he probably
He probably
does.
does.
Yeah.
But it was more just, this is what's going on, an issue that will probably crop back up again at another meeting.
He has mentioned it to me, and I think he talked to George, and George said, well, for $1,000, I would deed it over to the town. I think that's basically to pay for the lawyer stuff.
So once it's deeded to the town, it's non-taxable property.
Correct.
Right?
But then it goes back to, should we be taxing somebody for something
Something
they
that we
can't even use?
filled full of garbage. Right on.
Literally.
I mean, and it's not, I don't think that piece, the taxes on that piece were nothing.
No, they're not even.
You know, in 1977, they were probably $10.
You hold on a second, I can tell you exactly. 2024, taxes at $88.19.
Yeah.
And
That's
I can
because it's
go-
a tree growth, it's being subsidized.
Yeah, but I'm not even seeing that, because I go all the way back to 1998 and the taxes were $30.12.
Yeah, but tree growth ain't gonna subsidize that little
Nah.
bit much.
No.
you know.
The highest amount's $88.19. That's the most he's paid, and that was this year.
Well, I personally am not in the market for a dump.
I don't blame you.
Sure. I already got one, I live in it.
I think on that one, we should kinda wait and see if George himself approaches us and,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more just FYI. This is what's going on. We've heard from our lawyer concerning the government land. She would like to set up a conference call or a Zoom meeting with the board, if we can somehow figure that out.
Okay.
An update on the audit. This afternoon when I went back into the office.
2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
How do we facilitate that? I've had some people asking me about the progress on that. So how do we move forward with that so that we can have a conference call?
Well, we can do it at the office if you want, and we can probably get a Zoom connection going or just do a conference call there.
We don't need to see each other.
Our
just one-
computer's fast enough to do Zoom in real time.
Well, I was able to do a municipal law class. So, it's kind of draggy, but I think you can do it.
So how do we, time-wise, it's gonna be
It's gonna have to
a 9 to 5 deal or something?
And she understands that you all work. And would have to do it at a different time. So I just need to give her some options as to when can you come to the office and talk to her on the phone.
For me personally, first thing or last thing in the day, anytime we have to do any of this stuff. 7:30-ish in the morning is way better than in the middle of the day, for me. Because then I can go about my day or last thing in the day, I can cut off early and do it. But Josh is in the same situation, I think.
I'm more of as I go earlier than you do most of the time, I'd
Last thing
rather
in
cut
the
out
day.
early.
Yep, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Mike, you just can
Yeah.
do whatever we
Just don't worry
just
about
do
what
it-
you
do
do
it
at
all.
bed.
You're just waiting to be told what to do.
Yeah. So last thing in the day, 4 o'clock-ish or something. I guess we'll just see how late she can do it.
Okay,
What would be ultra convenient probably is where we're already all preparing for Wednesdays, is if we can come in a little early for our selectmen meeting. And
Yeah, because I tried to get done early on Wednesday. Today wasn't one of them,
it's hard to get done early every day.
Right.
A Wednesday,
okay.
as late as possible, and then we'll try to facilitate that, so we need to get that, we need to move that along.
Yeah, it's kind of it took her a while to get an answer back from her letter.
Yeah, I read all of her correspondence,
Yeah.
and
So,
their return letter seemed a little vulgar to me compared to the original one that was sent. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but they were upset, and I didn't think that there was I didn't think it was that bad of a email originally sent,
yeah.
It's gonna be strong arm. It's a big strong arm.
I went over there a few times and they hadn't been locking the gate, and now the gate is back to being locked again, so.
Yeah. I think we need to,
okay, so we'll aim for this Wednesday.
yeah, this Wednesday, we've got town meeting stuff, and I think it'd be good, we need forward progress on that.
Okay. The audit. I went in this afternoon. I've gotten 3 or 4 emails from the auditors asking for more information. I've sent more check registers down. I'm now sending our audits so every deposit you get like a probably 10-page document from Trio outlining exactly what we deposited. I'm sending those down. I just sent today all of December's. Now I have to go back and do a couple more months. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have all the stuff they requested down to them. They can't give me a deadline on when they're gonna be able to give us an audit.
That's frustrating.
Well, we won't need an audit for next year at this rate.
In your packet, you're gonna find information, emails that have gone around the internet. There's also a summary that somebody had actually put all the answers to. And this is Trio SQL is what we have, and this is going to Trio Web. This again is just more information for you to where we're gonna move forward with computers. This is what you're finding around the state. In digging in the old town office, I discovered a board committee policy, which is not on our website. I don't know how current it was signed September 5th of 2018. I don't know why it's not on the website, if that was
Is it
just
in our policy book?
no.
It's not. So it just shuffled away somewhere.
Yep, but I found the signed document,
Okay.
and it was attested by Alvina. So just as we're starting to get committees put together, found this is in your packets.
Okay.
Policy on dispersing warrants, and employee wages and benefits. I got this form from MMA, but to prevent the situation that we ran into this year where the staff couldn't get paid, bills couldn't be paid, this policy would allow one signature out of the three of you in certain circumstances. Again, this is FYI, so you can deal with it next time after you review it. If we need to make changes, we can do it before the next board meeting. So that's just,
And that came from MMA, that's a,
I took the verbiage from them.
okay.
Yep,
So that would be basically like a policy update
yep,
to put in our town policy book.
yep, so that if,
When there's one selectman, people can still get a paycheck.
right, yep, that's all it does, is if you're down to that stage of the game. US Army Corps of Engineering. Again, as I was digging around the old town office, I found information concerning the village cemetery and all the stuff going on in the bank, on the bank. So I copied it, it's in your packet for you to read.
Okay.
Just again, FYI. And I've already told you about the grant for the website. I think I gave you that stuff last time. The newest email from Kathy Mateo is in your packet. That's her information that she came up with today.
Michelle,
Yes.
are we still on for a class tomorrow? My calendar says that Freedom of Access Act.
Yes. So you guys are all,
It's on my schedule too.
have you got signed up? Was I supposed to sign you up?
Yeah, I think Jeff had asked about,
Okay, I can get you signed up.
yeah, it's up to you guys, right? I just put it in my calendar because he had
It's
said.
at the end of the day,
4:30 to
4:30 to
6.
6 is what my calendar.
You should get an email and it should have a link in it
Okay.
that you can open it and you
I
get the
thought
class.
this was the one where it was all coming to the,
I'm not gonna be around.
okay.
I'm leaving at noon tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh,
So
1 o'clock.
we can do it individually on our own.
You can, or you can do it all at the office. You're gonna have 2 computers at the office if you wanna come there and open your emails. But I will double check, Matt,
Yep.
first thing in the morning.
And we'll get the link tomorrow.
You should've got it before that. You should've got it like today.
I just looked at mine, I didn't see a
You
link.
didn't see it, okay?
I looked at it just before I came over here.
Who's it coming from?
Should be MMA.
Oh my god, it's a whole bunch of stuff for you.
Well, at least you're getting me stuff.
I just figured I should ask because
Nope.
I remember Jeff had said where I was handling people's information as well.
Yep, very good. Thank you for the reminder, and I will text you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do think that is good that Matt have that class too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care if we all get together or not, I don't. We're camping at the fair this year and starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll just sit down on the phone and watch it.
You can't have fair, Thursday.
Yeah, freaking right.
You put a camp up like that?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is the best fair in the state.
that's all, that's the entire update from the clerk. Item 10 is road commissioner's report. In absence of a road commissioner, you don't need to discuss that. Did anybody have any questions for Josh on what's going on with the road stuff?
I don't have any questions for myself.
You don't? Good. Okay, and item 11 is select board concerns. Having none, we're gonna move back to item 8. We need to have an executive session for personnel decisions under Title 1 MRSA 405, Section 6A. I'm gonna stop the recording at 8:20. Okay, it's 8:46. We've returned from executive session to discuss personnel matters as a board. We have accepted the resignation of Sammy, our assistant clerk. So at this point, we'd like to make a motion to advertise to replace her. Do we have a second?
Second.
And vote? Vote of 3, we're gonna advertise to hire a replacement for Sammy. I believe that's the end of what we've got. I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.